Hello, it's Gem Games here once again, and welcome to this new Unreal Engine 5 tutorial. In this video we're going to create this inventory widget where you can see the content of your inventory. And also when you hover over an item, it will show its name and its description. So yeah, let's get started. First, we want to go to the HUD folder and we want to right click and create a new blueprint class. It will be type user widget. And we want to call it W underscore inventory. Okay, let's open it. Now what we want to do, we want to get a canvas panel, of course, like always. Then we want to get a border to here. Now we want to set its position, let's anchor it to here first. Let's set its position X to 0, Y to 0, size 600 and size Y 1080. Now on alignment, let's set it to 1 and 0.5 here on the Y alignment. So it's here. Okay, now we want to click on the, we have to click from here, from this top right pin, and we want to move it to here. Also, bottom right, bottom left, let's put it here. Now we want to set all these offsets to 0, like that. Then here on the content padding, what we want to do is we want to set this to 40 on all of these. You can set it by setting this to 40, so it will change all these values at the same time. Okay, and the next thing that we want to do, here under the brush, where we have this tint, we want to click on that. We want to change it to black. And click OK. Now, let's make this as variable. And let's rename this to be inventory background, or BG, or however you want to call it. Okay, the next thing that we want to do is we want to get a vertical box and we want to move it to here. And as you can see, it has the 40 padding on the corners. That's exactly how we want it to be. Okay, so the next thing is we want to get a size box and we want to move it to this vertical box. And here, size box, we want to set this width override to, height override to 55, like that. And we don't have to touch anything else here. Then what we have to do, we want to get the border again and put it here on the size box. Now let's rename this border to be inventory text and let's see what I have put on my other project. Okay, yeah, it's just called inventory text border. Simple as that. And now here on the inventory text border, what we want to do is we actually want to change this horizontal content horizontal alignment to the center align horizontally and vertical to the center align vertically. Now here on the padding, let's set the left padding to 20, top padding to 10, right padding to 20, and bottom to 12. These are good values for me. You can adjust it later. You can also change this bottom to be 10, but I think the 12 is better. You can see soon what I mean. Okay, the next thing, what we have to do is we have to get a text. Put it also under the inventory text border. And one thing that I didn't notice on the inventory text border, let's go back there. Here on the brush, let's go to here and let's just change this to black. And we can actually even change it. It's alpha to 0, so it's not visible, but it shouldn't actually matter that much. So let's just leave it like this. Okay, now back to the text block. Let's rename this to be inventory text. And here on the inventory text, what we want to do, we also have set these paddings on the here on the border. But now what we want to do is let's go to the font. Let's change the typeface from bold to regular. I still cannot pronounce that. But yeah, and now let's change this text to be inventory. And as you can see, it's starting to look like a inventory. Okay. So the next thing, which I actually forgot again, we have to do still on this border, is we have to here under the tint, we have to change this draw as to draw as border. Now we can change this margin, and from the left we don't want to set anything, but to the top we want to put it to 1, and on the bottom also to 1. So now when we compile, and we actually cannot see it here, but on the when you play it will show these white lines on the top and on the bottom. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do will be we want to get a grid, uniform grid panel. Now check closely what I do. You want to put this on the vertical box next, so it will go under the size box, not any of the, actually you even cannot put it here, but yeah, you want to put it to the vertical box, so it goes here. Now let's rename this to be inventory grid. And here in the inventory grid, what we want to do is we want to change a few things on the padding, and that will be top. I want to make it 20, so it will leave the 20 units here, and on the bottom let's also make it 20, so it will also leave the 20 under it. And on the child layout here, let's open the slot padding and let's set a padding of 5 on the left. Actually, let's set it to all. So let's change this slot padding from here to 5. So it will update all these values. Min desired slot width. Let's change it to 120. Min desired slot height 120 also. And I will check what else. Actually, I don't think we have to do anything else right now. Now we can actually test this, I'm pretty sure. Let's compile, let's save, and let's get a W inventory slot, and let's move it under the inventory grid. Okay. And also let's duplicate the slot. Now we have 2 of these. On the second slot, let's change the column to 1. Okay, and let's duplicate it 2 more times. Let's change the 2 column to 2, and on the 3 to 3. And as you can see, it's starting to look like inventory. But yeah, now let's delete all these. You just want to test it so it works. If it doesn't work, you have entered some incorrect values here. Okay? Because now if you, for example, change these to like 55, you can see it will leave 55 on the left always. If you put it 0, and also on the right 0, actually it doesn't change much because the slot is that size, but if you put bigger number, it will make these slots smaller and space in between bigger. So yeah, let's make this all 5. Now let's select all these slots again and let's delete them because we will create them by code. And the next thing that we want to do, we want to select this size box under the inventory text border. Let's duplicate it. Now it's under here. Let's select the bottom one. Let's click on this so it will move it under the actual inventory grid. Now here, this one, let's rename this to be item name border. Now we have to make this variable. So is variable true. And on inventory text 1, let's also rename that to be item name text or whatever. And also let's make it as variable. So is variable true. Now let's change this text. We can just change this to like item or whatever. And let's put the horizontal alignment to the left. I think. No. Why do I have put it here? Okay, yeah, let's put it here. Fill horizontally. Actually, it shouldn't matter that much, but yeah, let's make it like this. Now the next thing that we want to do will be, let's just copy this item name text like that, and let's paste it under the vertical box. So it will be under here. Now this will be called item description text. And actually, I don't think we need these texts here and here, but yeah, let's leave it like that. And also, it has to be variable. Now here, I think I want to change some values. Let's open the padding. Let's check what I have put here. 20, 10. Let's put actually 20 on the top. Why have I done it like that? I don't really know. Okay, I don't want to do that. So let's put it back to 10. Okay, so it's, yeah, it's a little bit close there, I think. So let's actually first change the font to a little bit smaller. And now, yeah, that's because it's a little bit close here. So now let's change the top padding to 20. Or maybe like 15. Yeah, I think actually the 15 is better. But you can play with these values however you want. Now, on the... Yeah, it's like... Let's actually check one thing on the vertical box still. So let's actually here change this vertical alignment from top align vertically. It actually shouldn't matter that much, but yeah, let's leave it like that for now, at least. Yeah, let's change this text also to description. So it looks better here. It actually doesn't do anything, but yeah. Now let's compile. Let's save all. Let's go to the graph. And here the graph. Let's delete everything else than the event construct. Here we have to create a new function. This function will be called update inventory. Now let's go to the event graph and let's call that update inventory here on the event construct and let's align them. Now let's open the update inventory again and let's actually create the code. So we have to first get the we have to make the inventory grid as variable also. I forgot that. So let's go quickly back to the designer and let's select the inventory grid and let's change the is variable to true. Back to the graph, compile, save, and now let's get the inventory grid under here, because when we call this function, when we open the inventory, we always want to first clear children from the grid, because we want to basically recreate it every time, so it doesn't get any mistakes. Okay, the next thing that we want to do is we actually have to create few variables, or actually two. First one will be called ppc inventory ref, and it will be type ppc inventory object reference and instance editable and expose on spawn, both of these. Compile. Also, let's create another variable. This will be called player ref, and the variable type will be pp player character, this one, and object reference. And let's move it to the components. How can I put it there? Yeah, like this. And also we have to make it instance editable and expose on spawn. So yeah, and let's compile again and save. And now what we want to do is we want to get the ppc inventory reference, and we want to get inventory size from it, so we know how big our inventory will be. Then we want to subtract or minus subtract like this. We want to -1 from it. And why do we want to do that? Because we want to call a for loop, this one, not the for each loop. From here, for loop, and from the first index 0 to the last index, inventory size -1. And why -1 is because if our inventory size is 8, and we will always start from 0 in coding, so if it would be 8, the last, it will actually run this 9 times. So we want to -1 from it. So it will, the last index will be 7, so from 0 to 7 it will be in total of 8. Okay, and the next thing that we want to do, we want to actually leave some good amount of space here, and we want to right click here and we want to create widget from the loop body. And then we want to select our W inventory slot. And you should already have all these variables or inputs here. If you don't, you want to check that these variables on this widget has these all set like this, instance editable and expose on spawn. I think the expose on spawn also is the only one that we actually need, but I think it doesn't work if we don't select this. At least before, I'm pretty sure it didn't work. So if it's like this, I think it don't work. So you have to change this both. Now, what we have to do, from the W inventory ref, we want to get from it, and we want to get a reference to self. And why cannot we do that? Do we have to compile? No, let's get from here. Self. What? Let's actually try like this. Get reference to self. And now we have some problem there. So we actually have to go to the W inventory slot. Let's click on here. Let's move this to here. Now it has searched it for you, and it's actually in the same folder, so it's not like big job to find it yourself. Let's open it, W inventory slot, and here to the graph, and W inventory ref. Oh, I have set the wrong variable, W inventory slot. It should be W inventory, this one, and object reference. Oh, I know why I set the wrong slot. Because on the last episode we didn't have this yet, because we just created it in this episode. So yeah, W inventory object reference, expose to spawn and instance editable. Compile, save, and yeah, we actually don't want to close this yet, I think, because we have to create something else here. But now, the self, let's do it this way. Let's get from this self, still we cannot get it. Is it because we have to compile? And let's actually right click and refresh nodes. Let's see if it works now. Self, yeah, get reference to self. And if you cannot get it working, just delete this and create the W widget inventory slot again, like this. Now, what we have to do, how we check if it's in use, the slot, is we want to get the index from here, and we want to check if it's less or equal. We can just connect this here. And what do we want to check that it's less than equal? Will be, we want to get the BPC inventory ref. From here, we want to get the content, so our inventory content. From here, we want to get a length. Now we have to move all this even further. Now from the length, let's move it to here. And from here, let's get a subtract. Let's -1 from it and connect it to here. Now let's select this and press Q to align. Move to here, a little bit closer. And actually, I want to still put them down here. But yeah. Okay, now let's also move this here. And maybe here. Yeah, so, and also let's add a reroute here. So we're checking if the current index on the for loop is less or equal to the last index of the content on the inventory ref. If it is, it will be in use. Okay? And for the item ID and amount, we want to get from the content also, and we want to get a copy. Let's get it under here. And the index that we want to get it will be the index here. Let's add some reroutes again to make it a little bit better, like this. Now let's split it. Let's move these to here. Why did they move so much? Now the item ID, the amount, and simple as that. But one thing that I noticed is these are not aligned. Now they are. So the next thing that we have to do will be, let's go to here, and let's actually save, compile and save all, just to be sure. Here from the return value, what we want to do is, we have to get the inventory grid first, up here, and let's add child to uniform grid. Let's connect this to here. And why did I leave so much space? Maybe this much. Now, from the return value, this grid that we will create, we want to connect it to the content. So we will create this to here with all these values. Now, the row and the column, what we want to do, we want to promote it to a local variable, not to the variable, local variable. And this local variable will be, of course, called row. And also the column, let's promote it to a local variable, and this will be called column, like that. And they should be defaulted as 0. So it is as default like that, but you don't want to change them. After this, so first time it will add the slot to the row 0 and column 0. But after we have done all this, what we want to do is we want to get our column. We want to ++ increment integer, so we will add 1 to it because we want to change the column to the next one. So the next will be 1. But then we want to also check if it's already equal to our max row limit. So how many things we want to have on one row, which will be 4. So if it's already 4, then let's add a branch. Let's check like this. So we will add 1. If it's not 4, we will not do anything. If it is 4, then we want to set the column back to 0. And we want to get the row and increment integer on that. So when it comes to the last index of the row, it will set the column back to 0 and it will increase the row instead, like this. So it will go like row 0, column 1, 2, 3, 4, row 1, column 0, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, sorry, 0, 1, 2, 3, and then it will change the row and so on. Yeah, it will work. Okay, compile, save. Let's go to the event graph. Now, what else we will have to do? We will have to create yet another function, which will be called set name and description. And here, what we want to do is we want to add two inputs. The first one will be called, of course, the item ID, which will be the variable type of name. And the next one will be called description. Description, yes. And it will be type text. Yeah, text. Then let's add a sequence. So S and left click here. And from the 10, 0, we want to get our item name text. So this one. Let's get it up here. Now here we want to set text under the content. Let's actually make it as our favorite. Connect it to here, like this. Now we want to get this item ID, connect to the text. It will get this to text name. Let's move it to here. Let's add reroute and put it to here. Actually, we can move it a little bit upwards like this. Yes, and then what we want to do after this, we want to get our item name border like this. Here we want to set visibility, this widget, and from the invisibility we want to get the select node. Let's move it even further. Yes. And why do we want to get this? Is because we want to check if the name here is equal, not like that, equal exactly text. This. Now from here we want to make literal text. Then let's connect this to here. Let's select this and press Q to align. Move a little bit upwards, and now we want to check if it's empty like this. Or should we actually... Let's try one thing. Let's compile. You don't have to do this, but I will try. Set name and description. It will item ID will be defaulted as none. Can we change that? Here, open the item ID. Default value. It's So let's change this text to none. So if it's equal to none with the capital N, then we want to set the it to hidden, so it will hide the whole texting, so the name and those. But if it's not none, so it's an actual item, it will be visible. Okay. Now let's go back here and let's get the item description text under here somewhere, maybe to here. And let's also set text under the content from the 10.1. Let's add a reroute, move it to maybe here. And actually it doesn't have to be that far, but yeah, here. Now, when we want to connect to this text will be the description. Simple as that. We don't have to add any conditions or anything like that here. Actually, we have to move it even further, maybe to the same line with this. So yeah, now we will set the text to be the, we will set the name to be the name. If it's equal to none, we will set it to be hidden. If it's not, it will be visible, and the description will be the description, of course. Compile and save. Now on the event graph, we want to call the set description, set name and description. This we don't want to touch to anything, so it will set this to be none and this to empty, so it will hide the name and the description basically. And compile and save all. So we will actually not add the inventory to our game yet, so we cannot open it. We will do it on the next episode. But yeah, I actually think that was all for this video. If you liked what you saw, please click the like button and subscribe for more. And yeah, hope you have a great day and see you on the next one. Bye.